Hi guys, today I want to talk about a couple of topics and it centers around pretending you're not interested in someone, um, playing games and being turned off when the person you like shows interest back and things like that. But let's start with pretending not to be interested in front of others. Now, if you're interested in a person, and this is something I find more from men to women, if a man is interested in a woman, he feels like he has to pretend in front of others that he's not interested in her. That's going to give her a lot of mixed signals, and it's a bit of a slap in the face because it's like, what, are you embarrassed to like me? Why don't you want anybody to know that you could possibly like me? Now, it's probably not a personal thing. It's probably that he just doesn't want other people involved in it and knowing what he's doing. But it could also be taken in a, if he doesn't want to let anybody know he likes me, does that mean there's somebody else on the scene as well? So, guys, try not to do this if you can at all. Like, I know if you're working in a place of business, you might want to keep it a secret and all the rest of it, but try not to go overboard with this because it sends out a lot of mixed signals and the woman can just get sick of it in the end. She's just like, oh, too hard basket. He's, one minute he's into me and the next minute he's pretending he's not, and is he embarrassed and all the rest of it. And she might just end up losing interest in you because of this, the way you're treating her in front of others. And it's really, if she's got a best friend there, like say it's a workplace or something, she's got a really, really, really close friend, workmate there, and they're like regular girlfriends and they tell each other things and and she's happened to mention you to her, or the friend has picked up on it and said something to her or whatever, and then you go acting like you've got no interest in her in front of other people, then that's going to be embarrassing for her because the friend's going to end up going, oh, yeah, I think it's all in your head, you're crazy if you think he likes you. Look at the way he's treating you, or look at the way he's ignoring you, or oh, what a load of rubbish or something. And nobody wants to be embarrassed. So if you can at all avoid it, please don't pretend not to like her in front of other people. And it's like these guys go out of their way to make it look like they're not interested too. Just treat her like you were before you started liking her and nobody will notice any different. But if all of a sudden you start acting a bit strange and weird around her and having to avoid her, or having to jokingly pay out on her or anything like that, there are going to be some perceptive people that are going to pick up on that anyway. So you're shooting yourself in the foot no matter what. So just continue to treat her the way you did before you started liking her in front of others. Okay, now the second point I want to make today is on the flip side, letting everybody know who you like. Before you actually start seeing somebody, don't tell anyone who you like. If somebody likes you and you've picked up on it and that sparks your interest, whatever you do, don't tell anyone. And it's silly that you have to, you can't divulge, you can't talk about it to your best friend or whatever, and it sucks because you like to have somebody to sort of talk about it with. And this is especially true for females. I don't know about guys, but I don't think they're as into this as females are. But you like to have somebody that you can talk to about it and get their advice and all the rest of it. But it can backfire. And it's really suckful that it can and that it does. But if you tell somebody and then somehow the person you like finds out about that, they're going to change their behavior towards you when that person's around, before you become official or whatever, or so they're going to feel watched and all the rest of it, or they're just going to get turned off because you're blabbing, and it sucks that you can't tell. I think it's silly. Like, if you like someone, own it. But I mean, when I was young, in my early to mid-20s or whatever, I often made the mistake of letting my friends in on who I liked or who I thought liked me, who had maybe sparked my interest because they liked me. And then because some of the guys that were doing this were quite slow movers, then it got back to them, and they would deny that they liked me to the person. And either they would, check their behaviour when other people are around, like I said, or they would just stop being interested in me altogether. It turned them off. Yeah, so it's a shame, but if you want to succeed, don't tell anybody who you like. Don't tell anybody who you think likes you. Don't tell anybody who has managed to spark your interest because they like you. Just keep it to yourself until it's official. Even your best friend, because I had a best friend once who I let in on this guy who was showing interest in me, and then his interest made me think about it and sparked my interest in him. But because he was a very slow mover, he had some issues, and it had gone on for a little while. She went and decided she had to find out for herself, and went and spoke to him and said, "Do you like her?" and rah, rah, rah. Now, this was the worst thing she could have done, because he was a slow mover and because he had issues. That really turned him off, and he said no, he wasn't interested in me, even though behind everybody's back he was doing all these things to show interest. And that's a real that's messes with your head. Just don't do that, guys. If you like someone, own it. And yeah, so even if it's your best friend, ladies, don't tell her. Don't involve anybody until, at the very least, you've gone on your first date. Just don't involve anyone. The only people you should involve is perhaps somebody like your mother or your sister, who you know will definitely keep their mouth shut no matter what. Now, in my case, I had a sibling who I told, and it was bad too, because this person would be one of those people to pretend to not like you in front of others. And so even my sibling was saying, "Oh, you're crazy. He's not interested." But then when nobody else was looking, he was doing all this stuff. So it messes with your head. Don't do it, guys. Just own it. And if you are an incredibly slow mover and you've got issues and you can't ask her out for the next 3 months, and she's sitting there going, "What the hell is going on?" Don't show interest until you get the kahunas to ask her out. Don't even mess with her head like that. It's really quite cruel. Now, another thing I want to talk about is playing games, not contacting her after a date and doing this 3-day thing where you can't text and all the rest of it. Look, I know that TV shows and all the rest of it make out that that's normal to do, but it's not. If you're interested in someone, own it and let them know. I don't mean you have to be annoying and crazy and send a million texts and text her the second you get home from the date or anything, or the second you walk away from the date. But texting her, say you have a date and you go out for dinner or something and you have a really nice time, and say you part ways at 10 o'clock, for example. Just before you go to bed that night, just shoot her a text saying that you had a really nice time and it was good to see her, and tell her you'd like to do it again. Would she like to? Or give her a call the next day or something. Don't wait this stupid 3-day rule thing. That's ridiculous. Again, it's sending mixed messages, and it's saying to her, "You're really not important to me. You're just someone I just went out with because I had nothing else to do. And when I figure out if I could be bothered contacting you again or not, I will." She could also think, "Oh, maybe there's someone else on the scene and he's trying to assess whether he wants to see me again," or what. There's a million and one things that can run through somebody's head when you don't text them for 3 days after a date and they're going, What's going on? Was he actually interested in me? Did I do something wrong?" Now, you can do your stupid 3-day game thing, and you might get some success out of this from people who are only too relieved when you contact them and go, "Oh my God, he finally contacted me." But I reckon you're going to find at least half the time that the person is going to go, "No, that was disrespectful. I'm not going to bother with this person anymore." Or they're just going to lose the interest they had. You want to keep the interest going. You want to create momentum with that interest. You don't want the interest to wane and the person to forget about you and the interest drops to the floor because you haven't contacted them in 3 days. I mean, what a stupid, stupid thing to do. So don't do it. Now, that doesn't mean that you, like I said, that you contact her every 5 seconds and you make a nuisance of yourself, or, you know, if you picked up on signals that she wasn't interested in you on the date and then you try and push it. Don't do that. If you picked up on signals that she wasn't interested on the date, then either walk away, leave it, or if you think there's a chance of perhaps it being able to be salvaged, then you might want to wait a couple of days. But the whole 3-day thing is ridiculous. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is people that are turned off when the person they're interested in shows interest back. Now, is that not the most issue-laden, immature, ridiculous thing ever? To be interested in someone and pursue them to the hilt, and then when they finally turn around and start showing interest back because you've sparked their interest, you lose interest. Boom, gone, just like that, because someone likes you back. What, do you want to be with someone who doesn't love you? Do you want to be with someone who doesn't find you attractive? Do you want to be with someone who doesn't like you? Losing interest because the person you like finally showed interest back is absolutely ridiculous. And there are so many people like this, and they are usually male. So if you do this, then get to a psychologist, because only wanting to be with people who are not interested in you there's something really wrong with that. And there's so many people that do this. I cannot tell you the amount of times over my life that a guy has been interested in me and I've had no interest in him, but he started pursuing me and started showing interest in me and all the rest of it. And then his interest in me finally sparked something in me and I started liking him back. And then the minute I let on that I liked him back, boom, it was gone. He just completely lost all interest whatsoever. Now, it didn't matter if they were a 5 and I was an 8 or a 9. The minute I showed interest back, it was gone. So that's really quite disgusting, and it really messes with people's heads, because you're sitting there going, what the hell? Why the hell is this person that's gotten me interested when I wasn't interested in the first place? The minute they get me interested in them, they lose all interest in me. Why? What's wrong with me? You know, you're sitting there, you can't figure out what the hell went, you know, what the hell's wrong with you when you're a friggin' 8 or a 9 and this 5 lost interest in you because you suddenly got interested in them. It messes with your head. And like I said, if you're one of these people that loses interest when someone finally likes you back, that you've been trying to get to like you, go to a psychologist, because this is really, really, really weird. You would think that if you tried so long, liked someone for so long and tried to get them to like you back, and they finally started liking you back, you'd think that would be a great thing. Like, there was a guy I pursued, and I had to pursue him because he had no experience with women and he was really quite young for his age. And if I didn't pursue him, it was never going to happen. So I pursued him, and he had a lot of issues and everything. By the time he finally said he loved me, I was over the moon. Now, that's normal. That's how you should be. But if you finally get someone to like you that you've been pursuing for ages, and then they like you and you turn around and go, ugh, she likes me, ugh, that's it. Oh, all my feelings are gone. There's something really wrong and messed up about that, so get yourself to a psychologist. Anyway, guys, a bit of a long one this time. But look, I have so many more videos in the pipeline. I've got all these things written down of ideas to make videos about, so subscribe so you don't miss one of them. Give me a thumbs up if you want me to keep making videos, because, you know, what's the point of making videos if no one's going to listen to them? So give me a thumbs up so I know you like them, and hit subscribe if you don't want to miss any of my new ones that are coming. And for now, from Aussie Land, farewell.